Hi everyone, welcome to this session about insurance industry modernization using generative AI and data analytics. Let me start telling you about some of the common issues that insurance companies are facing when they want to modernize using AI. I'm sure that if you're coming from that industry, we recognize in most of these situations. There's typically great potential and a lot of very promising pilots which are started around AI, but it's difficult to move initiatives to production. There are a few factors which are affecting this. One, of course, there is a lot of curiosity from the CEO and the board and a lot of push to get from the IT in the various senior roles, CIO, CTO, CDO typically, what kind of value AI can bring to the company. But they're finding often difficult to start the journey, especially in the first phases, due to a combination of factors. The most common situations are related to lack of internal skills. Of course, AI and generative AI requires specialized skills, but not only that, the data needs to get right in order to really start to exploit the value that AI and machine learning can bring. So data readiness is another problem. Very often organizations have to reverse engineer different platforms, and this specifically for the insurance industry is made worse by the fact that insurance often grows by merchant acquisitions. So there are multiple legacy systems from multiple entities that needs to be integrated. The data needs to be polished, it needs to be prepared to really be valuable because the output for AI and machine learning is as good as the input. Other problem is some high upfront costs in terms of engineering solutions, not much from the infrastructure perspective. Of course, cloud helps in this regards, but still there is a lot of development and engineering that needs to happen before to exploit the value. And normally, of course, keeping the lights on and business as usual is the priority. So many experiences very often are put in the back burner because of more urgent needs. Now, DXC partnered with AWS in helping with this situation, leveraging our unique position for the insurance industry. If you think about it, most of the data which is typically required in order to build AI machine learning solution comes from core systems, and DXC is a #1 vendor in this space. That means that we own the data in most cases for most insurance companies, and we have the understanding about the process and the skills to leverage this data. So what we did was to pre-build a solution which is created on top of AWS Insurance Lake, which is a great starting point. It provides a canvas in order to build a data platform and start to create AI for the insurance. What the DXC did was complete the picture. There is a lot of effort which goes through creating connectors to integrate data from the different systems, cleansing the data, creating a data model so that the data is perfectly organized and understood within the organization, and create machine learning models and generative AI use cases which can allow to connect this data to the business processes so that it can really provide the value. Basically, the way we are helping is providing a platform and a set of use cases which can ready-made, be aligned in a typical situation. There's a minimal customization that needs to be applied, and the pilot cases can be started in 2-3 months. Now, just to tell you a bit more about the platform, here are the main components functionally that we created on top of AWS, which are the typical components that you may expect in a data plus AI platform for the insurance industry. On the left, you see a set of source systems. Of course, we have pre-created connectors to our platforms, but also to the most common sources like CRM or even external systems that insurance may get data from. We have created a data lake and an insurance data model which can be integrated with whatever enterprise data hub or data warehouse the company already has, or can provide the foundation for a new one, so that the data is perfectly organized. Then there is a data catalog on top of this data model, which makes the data available and explainable. This is a foundation that companies can use to build their own models and their own applications as well. What we have also pre-created is a complete set of even the basic stuff, the BI reporting, covering many areas, HR, operation, finance, actuarials, which can provide a justification in most cases just to make the investment to bring the data in AWS, and then use this data, when it's available, in order to support the most innovative use cases. We created a complete set of APIs, which allows the application integration, and even a catalog of events, which is leveraging Kinesis and Event Bridge, in order to expose this data to the application. And of course, a number of machine learning and generative AI models which are exploiting this data in order to support specific areas. Now, let me give you an example of some of the typical use cases which are supported. We focused as a starting point on distribution. So we have things like cross-sell, upsell, churn prevention, agent training, win-back, and new business. As you can see, these are typically, especially for the distribution area, head of distribution, head of the channels, these are typically the areas which are most interesting because they can provide immediate value in terms of additional revenues. Reducing the churn, selling more to the customers is a quick return of the investment, which often provides the justification to bring the data to the platform and then explore the other use cases. These are the typical data which is used in order for this kind of model to perform well. Typical insurance companies are trying to build these data repositories by themselves, analyzing the data they already have and trying to organize the data. There is typical siloed data, like customer interactions through the portal or through the call center. There is data which is coming from third party. Think about endorsers or open data which is coming from the government, which can provide signals that can be used in order to provide a better targeting and better approach to the customer. Then there is behavioral data about the customer itself. Every customer touch point across every channel. Think about past claims, past products owned, or even data about his family, or the connection between services provided by the insurance company and the services owned by the endorser. Think about bank assurance, or any kind of relation can be stored in this data model and be used as a signal in order to improve the quality of the model. The recommendations, especially, or the churn prediction, is as good as the data which is provided. That's why having a complete set of data is as important as having a good model in order to provide the right outcome. Now I'm going to give you an example about how this data can be used. I'm focusing on agent interactions with the customer. Even with the push to digital, the agents are still the prevalent channel for almost every insurance company in order to sell the products, especially the most complex one, like in life insurance, but even P&C, on healthcare, complex discussions and complex selling are happening mostly through agents. That's why I thought that this was a very good example to show the value. In this case, we are targeting the agent and not the customer directly. And we are providing a combination of machine learning and generative AI in order to support the selling cycles. There are fundamentally 3 steps. In the first one, the system is helping the agent to selecting the right customer to contact. Customers which have high propensity to churn or high propensity to buy additional riders or additional product based on past history and similarity with other customers. Second step is to define an exact combination of products to propose so that the agent can be ready to have the conversation. And the third step is to make the appointment and generate all the content the agent needs in order to provide, in order to manage the conversation with the customer. And this is where generative AI comes to the picture, taking the input from the recommendation models and generating the content for the agent to have the discussion. I'm going to show you a live video. What you see here is a page from the perspective of the agent. There are two types of information. One is the commission forecast, so that the agent can see an impact of the recommendation which are coming from the system on his commission in order to reach his quota. And the other component are the specific list you will see in a moment of customers and products to propose, which is prioritized by past history. You can see hot leads, warm leads, and cold leads based on the strength of the recommendation. There is a quantification of the commission value and an indication about specific products that the agent can propose. In some cases, there are also details about the visiting region. But like this customer is turning 50 years old, or this customer has a child which is starting the school. These are events which are generating needs from the customer and can be used by the agent to trigger a conversation with higher chances to be closed. What the agent can do, can you see here, is to confirm, postpone, or not confirm the recommendation. This is one of the problems. Very often the agent knows better than the insurance company, and with this system is providing a feedback which is used by the model itself in order to provide better recommendation in the future. Collecting effectively information from the first slides is as important as providing them support. Here you can see detail about the products, and what the agent is doing here is selecting one customer and a couple of products that he wants to have a discussion with. So here comes the next stage, which is planning the appointment. You can see here the two products. The agent is setting a target date in order to close the deal, and you will see in a moment, a mode of communication, email or phone call, and an appointment approach, which is virtual meeting or physical meetup. Then setting an appointment. Why is making these choices? Because the system will generate the content depending on the type of communication for the agent to have the conversation. So in this case, we selected mail, and as you can see here, knowing what the agent is going to discuss, the system generated the mail already with all the content of the discussion, including the invite, and all the attachments about the products that the agent is going to discuss. The agent can decide, based on the type of relation that he has with the customer, if he prefers the style to be more professional, or warmer, or more friendly. So there is a high level of customization, and in the end, can even change the text manually. But this will be a big time saver in order for him to plan for the conversation and to prepare for the conversation. You see here, changing the style, the mail will change, but the content will remain equivalent. On the bottom, is going to scroll in a moment, you will see the script. Some agents prefer to have a very short script just in bullet points. Some other agents prefer to have a very detailed script with everything they are supposed to discuss. If the conversation happens in a virtual channel and the customer is okay, the recording itself, think about a call center, can be used to provide real-time recommendations to the operator. In the end, automatically the system will connect with the agency system or with the Outlook or the reservation system that the insurance company already have, and will provide the input for the discussion in the desired format. After the conversation, the agent can provide the feedback about the result. One of the problems is that usually, if the conversation results in the customer buying, insurance company will know, because that will come to the policy system with all the details. But if the customer is not buying, the reason why it's not buying is often lost with the agent, is not shared, and is very valuable for the model. It makes a big difference between a customer which is not buying because the price is too high, or because it's already bought from the competition because it's have a product with a better quality, or it simply is not the moment. And it's very important to record this information, and it's the best interest of the agent in doing so that the next recommendation will be better. In turn, this information can be used by the insurance company as well in order to provide better targeting for other reasons and other products, even through the direct channels. So it's a win-win situation. Now, I'm available if you want to understand more, to pick your question. I'll be here aside the booth. And otherwise, you can come and visit us and the DXC booth 732. And the IDH is already available in the AWS Marketplace. Here you can see the page and the link. We are more than happy to get in touch if you have any interest or you want to have any conversation. Thanks for your time.